hello. This is Louis Mihael.
And this is Gabrielle Christensen, your co-host.
And welcome to the podcast.
Hello, and welcome. This is the first podcast of Geeking Around.
So with this, the fall section of this podcast is normally going to be like just random things and stuff about how our week went and all that, just non-geek stuff, really.
Yeah, or how obsessed we are with the new Flash game on our phone. You know, dating sims and all that lovely stuff.
Yeah. So one thing I want to talk about was the Apple event that happened Monday.
Hey, for once, I was actually at work on Monday for that, so no one can accuse me of skipping out on work to go see Apple.
I don't work on Mondays, so I got to sit home and watch it.
Lucky.
This is the WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference, and mostly just all about, the software, iOS, iPad OS, and Mac OS. To be kind of honest, it was kind of a little bit of a letdown because everything Apple did, especially with iOS, was all the stuff that Android had forever.
It has been kind of let down for the last couple of years, though, right?
Kind of. There's been good things they adding. I think people just, with the iPad Pro, the iPad Pro hardware wise have been great, but software wise, iOS just didn't cut it, and they finally made the iPad OS, and that was a big thing. What was really cool about the this event was that because of the coronavirus, they couldn't have all the developers and software engineers and stuff come there, so they had to record there at the Apple's headquarters, and Apple's headquarters is like a spaceship. It looks like, or a space station, really, not a spaceship, but a space station. It's all round and stuff, just like you see in the movies. And it was really cool. When I first was watching it, and they had like a drone flying to it, and down the hallway and stuff, and it's like, wow, this is really good CGI. The inside looks like a space station, only to come found out that it really is. That's how it really looks like.
I wonder what kind of safety meeting they had to have beforehand. Be like, okay, guys, from 11 a.m. to 2 today, don't walk in the hallways. Drone will be flying rapidly by. Get your face covered off, Mackie.
I would imagine that they probably got Johnny Ives, because he's been the head or chief design guy of Apple. He was the one who designed how everything would look since the 90s, early 90s or something like that. I can't remember, or maybe in late 80s. I can't quite remember, but he'd been the top guy, and he left Apple recently to start his own design business. So his team was probably the one that did the filming. I'm not quite sure, they didn't say who, but it probably was them, and most of the people from there are Johnny Ives, ex-Apple employees. So
Gotcha.
But yeah, iOS, they got widgets, which has been on Android since Android came out.
Yeah, at least since 2007, 2010.
Yeah, a decade.
Not that they've ever been that great, though.
Yeah. I did saw on one YouTube, they said that Androids like to make fun of Apple for not having a lot of these features and stuff, but no Android people actually really use these features.
Nope, we just have them, so
It's like,
we just get to say, hey, look what my phone can do. The stupid little thing. Is it useful? No, but we got it.
yeah. I mean, well, that's kind of like why I like the Microsoft Office, because I got the Surface Pen. I can use that to draw on, or do whatever, and it's touch screen, so I can use my finger. It does have a crack pad. I could use that, or I can connect a mouse to it, or a drawing tablet to it. You got different options, and that's why I use it. There's so many different ways to use it. Well, yeah. I was hoping there would be like a lot more stuff about the iPad OS. iPad just hardware wise, it's been great, but software wise, it just been kind of lacking. And last year, I think it was, they finally made the iPad OS, and
yeah, I recall you telling me about that last year.
yeah, and then
It would be a lot less of a pain. Had to do all the workarounds, transfer files over and stuff, correct?
yeah, there's still a little bit of that, but it's getting better each time. With this newest one, it might be even better. I don't. Had to find out when it release.
I'm sure you will be able to find out too. I know you were talking earlier about the pin, the new ability with the pin that they got out for Apple, that you could scribble and it could turn text into.
Well, I mean, it's a software thing. They always had the Apple Pencil.
Oh yeah, because it can't be called a pin.
Yeah, because stupid thing about Steve Jobs said 20 years ago, which was just a bullshit marketing thing. If you have a pen, you blew it. Because at that time, smartphones all use pens to navigate.
Yeah.
The
Styluses.
UI. Yeah, and then so I was like, well, hey, iPhone, you don't need it, and that makes it better, and blah blah blah. That was just a marketing thing. It wasn't like, oh no, you can now have a pen.
Yeah, but they took that seriously, as you do.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess since you were saying it's mostly software, they didn't have any add-ons you'd have to pay an extra $200-$300 for.
No, and they didn't announce Macs are switching from Intel to their new own processors, the ARM chips. A lot of people are wondering how much those would cost, with Apple doing them themselves,
Yeah.
Would it be cheaper because they doing it themselves, or would it be even more expensive?
You would hope it would be cheaper, but considering people will shell out no matter, the cost for their favorite product, it's no different with Android. They just keep raising the prices because it doesn't matter. You want it, you buy it.
Yeah. I'm actually excited for them switching processors, because ever since the iPad Pro first came out back in 2015 with the Apple Pencil, I'm like, all right, now the Mac is going to get the Apple Pencil, and I can draw on my Mac just like I do with my Microsoft Surface Book. Have yet to see that, and don't know if we ever will, and hopefully we do, because that'd be cool.
Yeah. It might be another 5 or 10 years. I'm sure they'll get there, though. When no one's asking for it anymore, though. It's usually how that works.
Well, Apple has always been more the artists, creatives, so I don't know why they haven't even done it yet, And I think they kind of tend to listen to the iPhone people and stuff, and who really could easily live off just their phones. And I mean, do you have a computer at home?
I do, but I'm an Android user, so. Laptop. So. But no, yeah, I see your point. I don't do much on my computer anymore.
Yeah, most people can just do all the computer stuff on their phones, and where someone like me who's does creative stuff and comic books and podcasting, kind of needs, something a little bit more than a phone.
I mean, I understand. I try to dabble with stories, mostly writing crappy fan fiction and stuff, and having a keyboard's a lot nicer than sitting there and trying to type it out all on my phone. Also has to do with the format, having a larger screen is just nicer to be able to view stuff on.
Yeah. I think it's time for the topic.
Here you got a video game lined up for us today?
Yep, it's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Ooh.
7 months later.
So something I still haven't been able to play, but I'm still on the first Dark Souls trying to get my butt kicked by the Drake, so.
Well, once you get finished with Dark Souls, you should definitely go over to this one, because a lot of it is like Dark Souls, with a little bit of like Uncharted or maybe Tomb Raider and stuff. At least that what a lot of other people were saying. I actually kind of thought overall it was actually a lot like Zelda and Breath of the Wild.
Really?
Yeah, and there's just so many different things that just mind me of the Breath of the Wild.
Kind of the open world adventure where you're not so much have to go on a certain quest. You can, but you just kind of get to run around and.
No, not like that. It's not open world. It's more like a Metroidvania, but in a like Assassin's Creed had that used to have been where you go one city, then you can like go out of that city, then you start to ride off down the road, and you load into another city.
Gotcha.
Something like that, but with planets. You go on different planets, and each one of them has like a path. Like you have the main path you can go down, but later on you can find different shortcuts and paths that you can go through to get to different spots. This was a really fun game. So you start out, I believe it was like 6 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
5 years of Revenge of the Sith. You're following a Padawan, I guess an ex-Padawan, named Cal Cactus. Something like that.
That sounds like a Dragon Ball Z warrior.
He working at this Imperial shipyard and stuff, and while working, his friend falls, and Cal has to use the Force to save him, and well, of course, this got the attention of the Inquisitors, and the second system and the ninth system came down and are hunting him, and when they were just about to catch him, this crew on the Mantis ship, they came and saved him, and one of them was a Padawan as well, or no, more of a Jedi Knight. They go on a quest to bring the Order back. So they had to follow this path, I guess, that Holm left, and so.
Gotcha. It's a funny thing about those games that happen between the prequel movies and then when you start off with the original trilogies. It's just like you gotta be clever to be able to fit all that stuff into the universe without it contradicting main lore.
Yeah, and that's something that I really like about this was like there was some familiar stuff in it, but everything was new and unique, but still felt like Star Wars.
Right.
Sometimes a lot of Star Wars stuff, like the expanded universe, are just like so out in left field. Like, what the hell is this? But this one, it did felt like this is exactly what you expect 5 years later after Revenge of the Sith, what it would be like, and it does have a kind of dark story because everything in chaos because of now an evil empire is taking over.
Yeah, total planet upheaval, and I mean, you just trying to wrap your mind around how many political systems you have to topple. I mean, I'm sure there are people who wanted to resist, so that's Yeah, it would be pretty dark.
So the combat at first, the combat kind of sucks because like you start out with nothing. You don't really have any force abilities. You just have simple stuff.
So like Dark Souls.
Yeah, and just like or any really most RPGs are like that. But yeah, Dark Soul you just start out with practically nothing, and then while you level up and stuff, you will get all these cool force abilities and new attacks and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Do you get expanding trees? You know, kind of how, like, especially JRPGs, you'll have different kinds of abilities and stuff you can choose, but you can only choose one tree at a time. Or
Yeah, and the skill tree.
yeah,
One thing's a lot like Dark Souls, like you get these Jedi meditation rings that you see like on the ground while you're exploring one of the planets, and you can go there and you can rest, and that's where it will fill up your health and health canistones as well. And while you're fighting, you can have your little Jordan comes with you, BD1, cute little Jordan that rides on your back on your shoulder, kind of like Yoda did in Empire when training Luke.
that's pretty cool.
Does have inside him or health canistrons where Kel can use and ingest himself to make his health go up.
It's always good to have a friend with drugs.
So of course, like in Dark Souls, once you rest at the bonfires or whatever,
Right.
all the enemies does come back, but you do have your force ability up, your health up, your canistones fill, and you get a check. Well, no, you don't get a checkpoint. That's one thing I don't like. You don't get really a checkpoint. You can't just like if you leave that planet and then come back later, you can't go to those different
Really?
circles. Yeah, that's the only very few things I did not like was that there was no real like fast travel or anything like that. So you had to start at the very beginning again and go all the way through.
Like Dark Souls. So,
But with Dark Souls, once you do get through that, you can fast travel to those bonfires.
can you? Have I just sucked this whole time at the game? That wouldn't surprise me.
Now, last time I played Dark Souls, you could do that.
I just been running back and forth. Although right now I am literally at the very beginning of the game, so there's only I'm in that burrow in Church of the Dead. So as someone who hasn't played this Star Wars game, and you're talking about different planets, these different planets, are they aligned with different sides of the Force, like dark side or light side aligned?
Well, you do go to Dathomir, where Darth Maul is from. That's always was more of a dark side, kind of planet because of the night systems and stuff.
Yeah. Do you get any bonuses or any negative effects to your health or anything like that when you're on a planet controlled by the dark side versus light side?
No.
No.
Get a double-bladed sword. I mean, lightsaber.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, and it does come in handy. I've been getting a lot better at switching from single blade to double blade. Like you get like a whole bunch of stormtroopers surrounding you, bust out the double blade, and you can take them out pretty easily. And
Dual wielding is always the best.
yeah, and Dathomir is one that we've seen in the prequels. Right?
Yes.
No, that was just Clone Wars. We didn't see that in prequels.
No. Yeah,
Just
you're
the
correct.
Clone Wars. There's Kashyyyk. You go there, and my God, the Wookiees look god awful in this game. That's no bad thing, but I mean it was just they just look bad. So everything else about this game looked great. That one just looked bad. The Wookiees.
I mean, synthetic hair is hard to play sometimes, especially trying to texturize them and stuff.
But another thing that a lot like Dark Souls boss fights, and they're pretty much all about blocking or parrying and dodging and stuff, and setting up for the right moment to attack, and one good thing about it is that you can change your difficulty. It's not like
Really?
Dark Souls and stuff that there's just that one difficulty, which is super hard.
So they kind of married it with Skyrim in that aspect. I guess there's other video games.
Yeah, but you start out story mode, which is the easiest. I don't know why they didn't call Padawan, but it's the story mode, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, and Grand Master.
That is stupid that they didn't call it Padawan.
Yeah, it's like story mode, and just call it Padawan. It's the easiest mode. And
did someone forget to change the placeholder when on the finished product? And like, damn, Bill, you had one job.
yeah,
You're supposed to change that over.
I mainly just played it on Jedi Knight, and it was still pretty difficult. And I mean, that's one thing I like is you play on like normal, and then you can always go back and play on a much harder difficulty. And
Yeah, that is pretty cool. They give you any extra bonuses from playing on harder difficulty, or is it just a self-challenge type deal?
it might be their achievement, but I don't think there was anything like in game that you get.
Right.
Kind of mentioned this before, the way you explore the planets and stuff. It's a lot like Metroidvania, but like in 3D. Because when I think of Metroidvania, it's more 2D,
Right.
like side-scrolling thing. But you have the main path you can go down, but you can find shortcuts to go to other paths and secret places and stuff. And like I said, that's the only thing one of the few things I hate was that there's no fast travel or anything. Like one of the planets, and after you beat the boss, and you gotta go back to the ship so you can fly off to another planet. Well, pretty late on the planets are like you can go
Right.
pretty deep down in underground into like caves and stuff. And
Then that
like-
would be a pain.
and I seen other people complain about this, like, man, like it took me forever to get back on that one mission. And then I see other people's like, well, why didn't you take the elevator? What fucking elevator? I didn't see no elevator. I couldn't find no elevator. I mean, I seen it on the map, but I could never figure out how to get to the elevator. And when I realized I was going the wrong way, it was like, well, I'm way off now. But I think the story is pretty good. Your typical video game kind of stuff. I mean, Cal, he's your typical video game hero. Always gonna do the good thing. Always,
Gotta sacrifice himself for the greater good.
But I mean, sometimes like those cheesy cliche stuff does work, and it does work here. And that ending though, when you see Darth Vader, that was scary but fun too, and that was pretty awesome.
That reminds me of the story seeing Darth Vader and it being scary but fun. Was it your sister when you had the VR game, or was it your dad or your uncle who had the VR game where you're meeting Vader for the first time? They tried to hit him.
Oh yeah, I stepped ahead.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I did finally got to play the episode 3 of the Vader VR game. There's 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mustafar is apparently supposed to be all green and stuff, like not a lava. It was because Darth Vader hatred and stuff. And since you defeated Darth Vader and stuff, now it's gonna go back to being green and stuff. But yet we see in the Rise of Skywalker at the very beginning, Kylo Ren's there, and well, it looks red and
Totally engulfed by lava. I mean, I guess if the lava stopped, eventually life could grow back, but that'd take a while.
It's like the story and stuff. It started out kind of good, but then it just kind of contradicted all the other stuff. Like one thing was, guess it was not going to work though. But one thing that was kind of disappointment was like the Dark Priest. Everyone thought that was Snoke.
Yeah.
Nah, it wasn't. It was.
I mean, everyone thought Snoke was going to be a lot of things, but in the end, he wasn't. He wasn't anything.
But I was kind of disappointed with that last episode of that Vader on VR. Like, you get to fight Vader, and here you are with your lightsaber and stuff, and actually holding, because it's VR, and yeah, you couldn't really do much.
Yeah, that is, games like that are a disappointment. Kind of like certain movies, the third in a row can be disappointments, or any in-game, really, can be a disappointment when it's executed very poorly.
Plus, it's like, first episode was, I think, like an hour and a half long or something.
Yeah.
And the second one was like maybe only 30 minutes, maybe an hour. The last one was probably just 30 minutes at top. Wow, I paid $30 for it overall, because each one was like $10.
Yeah.
A game that's like 3 hours, like that kind of waste of time.
Yeah. Those are 3 hours of your life you'll never get back.
I mean, it was cool, you know, you get to be a Jedi and stuff, but it just, unlike Jedi Fallen Order, like I was saying, like, it was different, but still felt like Star Wars. This one felt like fanfic almost, like a video game just kind of they threw in there. And
I would say with the Mustafar turning back to being a green planet, it goes back to the whole, if a planet's lined with the dark side or light side. Although oftenly the video games or the extended stuff I've ever seen with the whole dark side thing, it's usually just a forest or a swamp. Some Jedi will be like, this place is thick with the dark side. I mean, even in the second movie that recently came out, The Last Jedi, that dark place on that planet was a giant hole. It wasn't like it was inorganic, it was organic, and it's usually like a dark, moldy place. It's usually where dark side's at.
yeah, I think this game, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, if you are into Star Wars, definitely pick it up. But if you are into, you know, your typical RPGs or Dark Souls, I think you'll really enjoyed it. And like I said, I really had fun with it. I am a huge Star Wars fan, so I'm kind of a little bias on that. I can't wait for the sequel to it, and hopefully they give us fast travel and maybe make the planets a little bit more open world. And
You could also do a build your own character. I'm a sucker for games where you build your own character.
yeah, I don't mind playing as someone. I mean,
As
yeah,
long
I
as-
mean you can like change his outfit and got a poncho. It's like, I guess now you don't use a Jedi robe. You get ponchos.
That's how you hide from the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Never expect a Jedi to wear a poncho.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows Obi-Wan hated ponchos, so Darth Vader will never look for you if you're in a poncho.
You can change the way your lightsaber looks and stuff, and you can change the Mantis ship color of that, and like BB-8, not BB-8, but BD-1. You can change the color on him.
Yeah, just enough customization then.
But yeah, like I said, it is a great game. Been a long time since we really got a great Star Wars game. I mean, I can't even really remember the last time I really played a Star Wars game.
I played the Star Killer. I don't remember the name of it, but
Force Unleashed.
yeah, Force Unleashed. Played those games. They were also very short games. Beat those in like 3 or 4 hours.
My friends that I used to play all the time was actually the Revenge of the Sith movie game.
Yeah.
We played throughout. That was always pretty awesome. That would kind of more remind me of a lot. A lot of people didn't like that. That didn't get reviews.
The Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
A lot of people were salty over how that whole thing ended, which is a trend that continues even to this day.
On sale right now, this game is, and so anyone really who's into Star Wars RPGs and Dark Souls type of things should definitely pick this up.
I will after I get destroyed by Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 and then Bloodborne. And by the time that happens, Bloodborne 2 will probably be out. Sequel, probably have PlayStation 5. We might be halfway to PlayStation 6 by the time I get to it.
Then you got the George R.R. Martin one.
Yeah. I'll probably go into hibernation, never return, out of my room for a while when that comes out, but you know. Yeah. Alright, I guess now we'll kind of move on into the news section.
Yeah.
Alright, so currently we got some things going on with legendary actor Sir Ian Holm has passed away at the age of 88. Always sad news when you have somebody who is a great person pass away. He is known for playing Bilbo Baggins of Lord of the Ring fandom, Ash in Ridley Scott's Alien, Father Vito Cornelius in The Fifth Element, and Jack the Ripper in From Hell, among many other famous notorious roles he's done.
Well, he played many different type of stuff. It wasn't necessarily notorious or like villainous type.
He ended on Jack the Ripper. He was notorious.
Yeah, well, that was just one of the many things. He kind of like Michael Caine, even kind of been in movies for decades and stuff. Always sad to see someone that, like him, been around so long,
was really a large part of the community too. Guess in less sad news, although our thoughts and prayers do go out to his family. It's always hard to lose a loved one. I guess we could talk about The Last of Us, because that's kind of like losing a loved one. The Last of Us Part 2 has been released. The critics seem to love it, which is hilarious because users gave it a 3.5 out of 10 on Metacritic. So not so much. Apparently graphics and combat gameplay were positive, although sometimes the combat seemed to be outdated. Some people complained. The story and character development seemed to be really negative. I have a good friend at work who really loved Last of Us. I'm gonna get to soak up all that heartbreak of hers when she plays the second one, apparently, and gets to feel so disappointed over it.
The way it seems to me, because I actually never even played the false one, what I've been hearing is kind of like it's The Last Jedi, where I don't want to say too much spoils. Was just released and people haven't really got to play it very much yet. But apparently some of the main characters act out of character, and some may or may not die pretty all into it, and there's some other scenes that makes no sense. Also there's like apparently like just random feminist stuff or social justice warrior kind of stuff that just thrown into it just cause.
Kind of wonder if they didn't try to hurry up and get the game out right now during a pandemic. I mean, it kind of sounds counterproductive, but since the whole, I guess, I've never played either game either, but I am kind of one of those people who'll go on YouTube, and if there's a video game series that seems interesting, someone let's plays, okay, I'll watch it and say, try to play that game later. But from what I can recall in The Last of Us, there was a certain kind of outbreak that was a fungus. It's in real life. The fungus had learned to jump from its insect host and had figured out a way to start to infect humans, which is entertaining considering the kind of pandemic we have now with a virus that has jumped from animals to humans. So I don't know if that had anything to do with them releasing it. It sounds like kind of unfinished, or if they just got tired of it.
I don't know. What I thought was weird, them releasing it now is, PlayStation 5 is going to be coming out later this year, and this would have been a great launch game.
Yeah,
to go everyone would go out and buy a PlayStation 5 just so they can play that game.
If memory serves me correctly, hasn't it been with most PlayStation games, it usually comes with a launch of some kind of zombie apocalyptic game right around there?
Maybe. I think with PlayStation 4 that it was Uncharted launch game.
Was that Uncharted? There was, yeah, I guess so, because I'm not remembering what the other game was around that time. Or some kind of zombie game would come out then. He also had another gentleman who passed away, Mr. Joel Schumacher, passed away at the age of 80. He was best known as director of St. Elmo's Fire, Lost Boys, Flatlines, and Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin.
Supposed to be Flatliners. One thing that really sucks about Joel Schumacher was that he got so much hate for Batman. They was bad movies, But, one thing about Joe Schumacher was he admitted it to it. He's like, yeah, I apologize. They was bad movies and I should have done better. He did say that he was pressured by the studios. Can't remember if that was Warner Brothers back then too had it, but
it sounds.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be right. Well, we keep hearing more and more how Warner Brothers keeps putting their hands where they shouldn't be. But at least he owned up to it. It's like, yeah, I did make it was bad movies. They should have done better. I should have fought back against the executives wanting to do all this campy stuff. Unlike a lot of filmmakers today, who's like, oh well, since you didn't like it, you must be a big man baby then. Blah blah.
Yeah, you fans, you always want it
toxic
your way.
Fans. It's like. No, just admit that you made a bad film. It's like that Fantastic Four movie that no one went and watched, and the remake.
Yeah.
I was not going to be surprised if you didn't even know there was a remake. It's like, because no one went and watched that movie because it was so bad. And
like I said, I'm one of those people who watches YouTubers do their things, and I remember people ripping on how terrible the remake was. I didn't have to watch it. I just got to hear them go, man, it was so bad, I literally went to sleep. Oh, yeah, that's bad.
I think the director his name is Josh Trunks or something like that. He was the director of Chronicles, where it's like a documentary type of kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
that found footage
Yeah.
thing. These teenagers kind of has some type of superpower or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, what did y'all expect? I mean, that movie sucked. I didn't care for that movie at all. And
You feel like if you threw more money at them, they'd just do a better job. That does usually want to just use a bunch of crappy effects. But speaking of Warner Brothers, I hear that they've decided to go ahead and change the release date of Christopher Nolan's Tenet further back this summer at some point.
yeah, I think I heard that they may actually put it August 2nd, I think now. I think Wonder Woman is still supposed to be at in October.
They'll have the 10th anniversary release of Inception on July 17th still, correct?
Did not hear anything about that. But yeah, apparently Tenet is supposed to be kind of like somewhat of a sequel to Inception.
Gotcha.
It's gonna be pretty cool and can't wait for it finally come out so go watch it.
Yeah, I'll actually be with you guys on that one. So I guess we can actually end this cast news part on a happy note. Yashahime is coming out. That's a long-awaited sequel that no one ever really expected to see coming for Inuyasha. I am definitely stoked about that. The anime will be coming out this fall. Supposed to be anyway. It's about Inuyasha and Shishomaru's children, which is great because Shishomaru, Mr. I don't want to have children with humans. I don't like humans. Apparently had children with a human. So great. It'll be kind of the reverse order of the first one where Kagome traveled back in time. The kids will be traveling forward in the future, apparently. Be all kinds of shenanigans. No Naraku. I'll be depressed to not have Naraku there, but I think there'd be a lot of fans who would probably leave the series completely if Naraku showed back up. So just have to make do. I'll find someone else to gawk at, and it's alright.
Now, I don't think it actually has been canceled. Marvel's New Warriors, or what a lot of people have been calling the Snowflake comic,
Yeah.
it supposed to have been released already like long time ago or something, but it has no news has been, there's nothing out there about it. It may have been just delayed. I mean, a lot of stuff is getting delayed because of the virus, but I kind of don't understand why comic book would be, because most artists work from home anyways. So I mean, this does look like it was drawn by some college or maybe even a high school kid, so you more likely gonna be at home one way or another.
Yeah, it might just be waiting for the time to be hot to strike back with a release of it. Or they might have just been releasing the information on it to get the community aflame.
I hope they just cancel it. Like I said, just character design wise is bad, and like I said, it looks like something done by a high school. You know, why is this person working at biggest comic book studio ever? And there's so many great people out there that, you know, like one of my favorite YouTube artists and who makes videos of him drawing Marvel comic book characters. They look great. When I first started watching his videos, I thought he was a Marvel artist, you know, comic book artist, and I think I watched him for like a year or so till I come to find out, like, wait a minute, he's not a Marvel. It's like, whoa, okay. Like he was talking about how he sent his artist portfolio to Marvel numerous times and never hauled back from them. Like, I guess that's why, because they don't want good artists, they want crappy artists like that.
Yeah, it's the industry, or anything, really. You have somebody, you know somebody, and rub elbows with them until you get in where you want to be in. A lot of times, if you have the talent, you don't have the time to be rubbing elbows and knocking knees with people that you don't really know.
I think a lot of it is just trying to do the social justice warrior and stuff and minority stuff. You just hire this one person, represent them, you know, those people, and there you go. And then
yeah, but you don't even care if they do well or if they're, you know, if their story isn't going to be taken as toxic by the community.
Yeah, Marvel needs, with the program and stuff. You know, I remember seeing a YouTube video, them talking about one of the head writers there at Marvel is her previous job experience was being a blogger for a feminist activist blog.
Yeah.
Why are they, you know, the head writers of something they don't know anything about? And
that's because they know the right people. She was the head writer at a feminist blog, so I'm sure she knew the right people.
What right people would that be, though? I mean, who there at the feminist blog would know anyone from Marvel? That it's just more they want to represent and pander to this one people who don't care about comics, who don't care about these characters, and throw these people in there and to mess it up.
Yeah.
Now we got Cyclops and Wolverine kissing on Mars.
Although I won't disagree with that. Although it is kind of creepy, because Cyclops is what he was. Now I'm thinking back to when I was watching the X-Men on Disney, possibly, whatever channel that aired on when I was a kid. He was a teenager, right? Wolverine's like 50.
Yeah, Wolverine is much older.
Yeah, that's creepy. That's creepy. Don't do that to...
Yeah.
Don't have a kid and an older man making out. That's not right.
It's like that one Kylo Ren comic where he falls... Well, not when he first met Snoke, but he snuck off from Luke's Jedi Academy and to meet up with Snoke, and it just had this very weird vibe, and they hugging and stuff, and...
That is a weird vibe.
You know, it's like, it's just like I didn't want to turn the page because I didn't want to see something, you know. It's just, you know, I didn't want to see something poking.
I mean, it is kind of, you look at the Sith and the way that they groom. Actually, you look at both the Sith and Jedi. They're like, oh, we got to get the younglings. We got to start with them, and we got to groom them, and they can't love anyone else. Because even the Sith are like that. You can't love anyone else if you're a Sith. You're supposed to give in to hate, but you're supposed to obey your master, so I got problems with them. Thank you guys for joining us. We're really appreciative that you stopped in for our first podcast. There'll be many more on the way to come. We'll hopefully have some drawings by Mr. Michael Lewis himself there, kind of instead of this screensaver we got going on right now. Have a lot more things in the works for you, and hopefully it'll have a longer format next time. Just kind of for the intro, it's just a little shorter. So, have a good day, night, wherever you're at. Catch you later.
Bye.